So you all know the work groups if you've been with us a lot, but obviously this is where we get our work done. This is where standards are created. And these folks, the chairs and vice chairs of RESO's work groups, they're volunteers. Again, like our board of directors, really the leaders of this organization. They put in a lot of effort. Find them in the halls, thank them for the work they do, and they're going to be leading the meetings throughout the week. But we want to give you just a quick intro to each of the work groups. For some of you who are new, who may not have sat in each one, not all these work groups are for everyone. Some of them will be perfect for you. You're a business person. You might be in one work group. Somebody else who likes talking about OData enumerations might want to be in a different work group. You can kind of figure out pretty quickly what that might be. As we get started, though, we did say we were going to give away a bar tab from Builders Update. So from my official raffle sheet here, looking through the list, and we like to get somebody who's in the room. It looks like we have Rick Harris. Rick Harris, are you in the room? There he is, Rick. Congratulations. You can come up and get it now, or I can get it to you later. He's going to stay. Okay, congrats, Rick. We did have a lovely piece of jewelry that was left in the room earlier, so if anybody knows who this might belong to, please do come up and get it from the podium later. So, let's just kick off from each of our work group chairs as we get going, and our first input point in the organization is our broker advisory work group with Jeff.
All right, good morning. I just wanted to say a quick thanks to everyone who's been involved and participated in broker advisory, because it really is a great place to interact between both the broker and the technology side. Today, Sam mentioned the words objectively, transparently, publicly. Frank mentioned marriage, communication, and common base language. And I think that's really important, right? Because the brokers and those in technology don't always speak the same language, and broker advisory is kind of a safe place for everyone to have that communication and to not have to dive deep into technical jargon. This year we've really been focused on broker spotlights, getting conversations started with those in the trenches every day in technology in their brokerage. We had a great conversation with Nina, and I'm gonna try to do her name right, Dosanjh from Vanguard Properties. Tomorrow we're looking forward to Dan Troop from Remax and Derek Taylor from JP & Associates. I hope that you join us if you have an interest in making those connections between the two worlds, because they're really great conversations and they're very comfortable. Also, there's been a lot of alphabet soup. If you've read any of the real estate blogosphere or newsletters, or just haven't been buried under a rock, you've probably heard Now and Leap and Real and Ads and BBO, and all of those started from a conversation with the brokers and RESO through the broker advisory work group. So we really hope to continue to foster those. That's just one example of how conversations that start here can lead to things in the real world, amongst all the technical things that happen in the other work groups. So again, if it's an interest of you, we hope that you join us tomorrow and participate and come hang out with us. So with that, I'm gonna transfer wave the baton, hand the mic off to Greg Moore.
Thanks, Jeff. Greg Moore. I'm the R&D chair, research and development. John Bro, vice chair. Basically, and it's really interesting that I follow Jeff, because, our job really is to take those pain points and boil them down into business cases. So, you don't have to be a geek like Greg to join R&D. We're a collaborative, kind of communicative work group. So, we take, problems, we take where maybe the standard's missing something, or it's lacking somewhere. And obviously this standard has to evolve. I've been involved in it probably for 10 or 15 years. And we talked about RETs, and it's now the dinosaur, let's be honest. So, we're here, we're called kind of the top of the funnel. So, if you've got a need, an idea, anything, let us know, come join us. We meet once a month, the first Thursday. You'll find it on the RESO site. And we're here to talk. And I'm here to help, basically write that business case and present it. And then, it finds many of these other capable people sitting on the stage, et cetera, to kind of move that into an implementation. So, we are, pretty much research and very little bit of development. You'll see us tomorrow, though, with the ULI, the Unique Licensing ID. We're actually built a POC, and we can thank Josh for that, who really did the coding part. But I mean, you know, and that's what it is. It's a POC. We're not, you know, building production stuff. We're really looking for a partner probably at some point to take that and really build out the idea of how do we truly create a unique licensing ID. And I mean, you think about the industry, yeah, we've got about 80% of folks who have NERDS IDs, but we've got another, you know, 20% of practitioners who don't. We have MLSs who aren't really involved with NAR, so they're not collecting the NERDS ID. But you know, there's great business case here. You think about statistics and deduplication and data shares, and I mean, we can go on and on and on. But you know, that's what we do, and we really, you know, are looking. Actually, you know, I love going to the pain points. We love listening to this stuff, and really distilling those into business cases. So join us if you're interested, and we're on tomorrow, I believe, after lunch. So look forward to seeing you. And I'll hand off to Rob.
Hello, I'm Rob Larson, Data Dictionary Workgroup. To give you an example of, I think, the scenario that drew me into this work was I was sitting there at 3 in the morning saying, what the hell is a jealousy window? And it turned out that those were the louvered windows that I had in the place I was living in. And taking that to the 1.7 version of the dictionary, where we essentially completed representing the initial work of the MLS system. And now that we've been moving on, we have changed the format of the group a bit. So instead of a single dictionary work group where we try to get all things done there, we've broken it into subgroups. So now we are tackling multiple threads at the same time. So commercial, appraisal, rental, tax, and the list goes on, showing, and leveraging those subject matter experts. So when you take a look at the dictionary and you think, okay, how might I get involved? Do take a look at the different subjects that we have going on. And you'll be able to see some of those today. This afternoon, we have the main work group. So I'll give you an example of kind of what the work group is about. And then we have a breakout where we have 3 of the different groups that'll be talking rentals, showing, and then DOM, days on market. So you can check out those as well. And if you have any other questions about being part of the dictionary work group, it really goes back to that jealousy window. What do? We essentially come up with the names for things, come up with a standard name, and then how does that attach to the world? You know, technically it needs to be very stable. It needs to be one thing that's easy to connect to. But humans use different vernacular, different languages, and all that. And that's another piece that we're currently tackling. So if you have interested in how the dictionary will speak multiple languages and multiple dialects, definitely come check it out. And who's next? There we go.
Thanks, Rob. Hi, my name is Sergio Del Rio. I'm stepping in as the vice chair of the transport work group. Steve Ledwith is stepping down, so I'm taking his place until we can put that to a vote. Paul Stuziak is the chair. And basically, the transport work group deals with how we exchange data, how we authenticate, how data goes between systems. With all the standards that we build here at RESO, we have to figure out how to make them all compliant, and we also have the certification subgroup as a subgroup to the transport work group. They deal with all the validation, testing. Most members of that group are the same as the ones in transport. A lot of times we have to use we use all the global standards to make all the RESO transports work. So we have OData, we have OpenID. Sometimes we have to clarify how all these work. We do that in the work groups. We do a lot of management of all the incoming change requests. So we have RCPs, which are RESO change proposals. So yeah, it's great having an acronym within an acronym. People submit RCPs to us. We look at them. They have preliminary test definitions. We have comments from all the members. We vote them. We vote on them. We change them. And eventually they get incorporated into the standard and brought up to the boards for actual final proof. At that point, we get them into a reference implementation, and that's really the crux of it. The two subgroups, again, I mentioned are certification. Eric Finlay's the vice chair. I'm the chair of certification. We basically, in certification, focus on all the testing rules, what's tested, how servers talk to each other. Oops, sorry. We identify, in many cases, in doing all that, we identify problems with the specification. We bring those up to transport and get them resolved and come up with a way of fixing all those problems and getting them through with RCPs. And we also have the data consumer subgroup, and Rick Herrera is the chair of that, and the vice chair spot is open. And they really focus on identifying issues with the standard, especially from the client perspective. Many members are the client vendors that use the RESO standard to do their work. So they're finding all the problems, and we have to make sure that we deal with them. So they'll bring the problems to us in Transport Workgroup. And that's about it. Next, Chris.
Thank you, Sergio. I'm back. Chris Horan, MRED. I'll be doing a group later this afternoon. Rob already mentioned with the showing subgroup, but wanted to promo interoperability, which is the work group that I chair, along with my great vice chair, Catherine. Wave hi, Catherine, to everybody. So hopefully you'll come see us tomorrow afternoon. Interoperability is a nice mix of business and tech people together talking about how we make it easier for data to flow from one system to another. Our first use case that we've been working on is around transaction management. And similar to what we talked about in our showing presentation earlier today, how can an agent or a brokerage choose the system they want to use and stay in that system, but still work with other systems out there? Interoperability also really likes to take a look at what else RESO is doing and how we can get more adoption of existing standards. So we're not trying to create a bunch of new standards whole cloth. We do want to see what already is out there, what we can bring together, and then supplement on top of that. So if you're interested in helping our brokerages and brokers with their data, with helping them choose the systems they want to use, then we definitely invite you to attend our interoperability workgroup meeting tomorrow and to join us every second Tuesday of the month at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. And I'm going to turn it over to Sean here with Internet Tracking for who we're going to share our workgroup session tomorrow with.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Sean York with Homes.com. I'm actually the vice chair for Internet Tracking. Most of you probably know Chris Lambro, who is the current chair. So in Internet Tracking, we're interested in building data standards around the production and consumption of performance metrics in Internet marketplaces. We work on everything from real-time to aggregates. We've got some white papers out there about some summary data that would probably be of interest to you. If you have a product that you're interested in understanding your performance of the data you share on internet marketplaces, or if you have a product that you want to make sure others understand the performance of in those marketplaces, then we're the group for you. That's where we talk about making sure that we have standards put together that make it easy to communicate this across consumers and businesses. So again, we'll be with Interop tomorrow. I think we're in here at 2:30. We usually try to have a little bit of fun, as you can in standards, and we'll hope to see you there. And I'm going to hand it over to Mark.
Thank you, Sean. Mark Bessett. I am with the UPI work group. I'm the chair of that work group, and Matt Casey with CRS is the vice chair of the work group. And we have loads of fun. Everyone really ought to show up. It's like a party every time. In truth, we really need to have as many perspectives as possible. A lot of people think the UPI is a technical work group. Really, it's not as technical as most people think. It's really more about the business case, and then we kind of leverage just the tiniest bit of technology, really not a lot. We do have some proof of concepts and things that we use the technology for. It is a universal property idea, and that what we came up with for the spec that I'm sure started in Greg's group, by the way. The whole idea of this work group came up in Greg's group, but when we came up with the spec for that, we made it so that it could be extended internationally, and we have actually seen where it's adopted internationally in Europe and in Canada. In Canada, it's very, very aligned with what we have specifically, so that's been kind of a boon. We've seen a lot of adoption from various groups that want to have their property data. It's not just property data in the traditional sense, but it could be insurance claims and green data, for example. Those things will be available via a link we use that's called the UPI. The UPI is in the data dictionary. I think that if I'm not mistaken, it's 1.6, if I remember right. And so it's already available for MLSs to populate if they want. We also have now more interest in the national data aggregators providing that UPI for everybody. So now we're sort of democratizing the availability of the UPI. So that's been great to see. And then our next focus for adoption that we're really focusing on now is the registry. So where people can register their facts in a I'm not going to say hub this time, but it's a it's a registry of facts that people can make their data available in the marketplace, if you will. So that's where we're headed right now, and it's pretty exciting. And that's the biggest topic for the group. And with that, Sam?
So our one work group that didn't have leadership who is able to travel is the distributed ledger work group. So some of you will immediately put hashtag blockchain on Twitter, and some of you may immediately have your cliche bell come out, but it's not blockchain for the sake of blockchain. This group looks at potential models where we may not have a central source of trust or need a central source of trust. And in a distributed model, do we have maybe multiple MLS organizations working in a system that doesn't have one central ownership? So really interesting sort of different thinking organization, which has brought us a lot of new interesting member companies at RESO as well, which has been fun. So when you get finished with the conference, obviously come to the meetings while you're here. And see which meetings are really best fit for you, your staff. You can sign up with our staff here so you can get into our Confluence system, get updates for the meetings. If you can attend, great, we'd love to have you there. If you can't, you'll still want to get those meeting updates and meeting notes. We also have those come out in our RESO monthly blog. So whichever way you want to follow and stay updated with the changes at RESO, we'd love to get you signed up for any of those, and you can reach out to staff to do that. So please help me give a big hand to these folks who put their time in to make us do what we do.